A good Erev Shabbos for the second time. This week's parsha is Parshas Nasso. It's my mitzvah parsha, Baruch Hashem. In case all of you were super duper impressed this week when I landed on Thursday, it was because it's my mitzvah parsha. Of course, my mitzvah was 133 years ago, Be'ez Hashem. And I expect presents. I did get punches based on that amount. Thank you very, very much from the Bleacher Creature section back there. But it is definitely an amazing, action-packed parsha. There's so much in this week's parsha. Saita, Nazir, the Nesiim. I want to take one point in this week's parsha and dedicate it to all of my dear Kaihanim in this yeshiva who are surrounding me. I say this often, and I say it really in the name of my Rabbi, if I can call my Rabbi, Rav Brevda Zakheim Bracha. He used to say he is very, very nice to Kaihanim. I try to be very, very nice to Kaihanim because Be'ez Hashem, when Mashiach comes, and these are going to be the ones to facilitate all of the bringing of karbanos, the ones who I'm sure are Kaihanim, they facilitate the bringing of karbanos. They're going to make sure we get on a good spot online. So he used to say, I give a shtickle shmiritzach, a shtickle bribe to all the Kahanim now, so that when Mashiach comes, you'll take care of us and remember who helped you and who didn't. This week's parsha has a beautiful aspect of the avodah of the Kahanim, and it's in Perek Vav, Pasuk Chav Beis, Chav Gimel, over there. The Pasuk says, Daber el Aharon vel bonav lemer. Moshe Rabbeinu is to speak to Aaron and his children, Koisiv arachu es b'nei Yisrael. So you should give a bracha to the b'nei Yisrael, Omor lahem. And you should say to them, and we know the three-part bracha. Yivarechecha Hashem v'yishmerecha, yoyer Hashem panav elecha v'chunecha, yisa Hashem panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. It's important for us to know what these words mean, especially Achenu b'nei Sfarad, who are careful to have Birchas Kaihanim every single day of the week, and we are unfortunately lacking the ability. Ashkenazim do not have Birchas Kaihanim every single day of the week, unfortunately, but Achenu b'nei Sfarad, who have Birchas Kaihanim every single week, it's important to know what these words mean. The Ramah, in fact, who talks about when it is that Ashkenazim should have Birchas Kaihanim, he says that we have Birchas Kaihanim only at a time of great simcha. Only at a time of great simcha, Yom Tovim, at a time of great simcha. But aside from times of great simcha, I suppose you have to say that the Sephardim are much fuller of simcha than we are. It makes a lot of sense. On the senior trip, the Gemara says, Ein simcha ela bebasar v'yayin. So on the senior trip, all of our Sephardim were making sure we had lots and lots of meat. So if you have so much meat, like my dear friend Ariel always makes sure to 2-3 in the morning, having lots and lots of meat. Of course, you guys have much more simcha than the rest of us. And by doing that, you of course have Birchas Kaihanim. And the rest of us, my Litvak people, what are we having? We're having potatoes and barekas. I don't know if barekas is from us. We just have one big potato, and we call that our wealthy meal. But you have an ability to have Birchas Kaihanim every single day. You should know what it means. Rav Shmuel Berman, Zakheim Bracha, used to point out that the bracha says, and Milstein's Rabbi, my brother's Rabbi, the bracha, the words are Yivarechecha Hashem v'yishmerecha, which means Yivarecha Hashem shall bless you, v'yishmerecha, and He should protect you. Now, there are lots of deep ideas of what it means, bracha, and what it means shmir. But he said, don't ignore the words of Rashi. Yivarechecha means, says Rashi, sheyizbarchu nechasecha, that you should have a lot of possessions, or your possessions should have bracha in them. It's very important. Yivarecha means that you should have good possessions, baruch possessions. V'yishmerecha, and you should be protected. Nobody should steal your possessions from you. If you're zeicha to have a scooter, you should have a nice, expensive scooter. I'm not saying I support having electric scooters. My yeshiva is very, very anti-scooters. That said, but if a person has a scooter, v'yishmerecha, you should be protected. It shouldn't be taken away from you. It reminds me, the Ben Ish Chai says, he says in the Gemara Masechus Yevamos, it's a very famous Gemara. The Gemara says, Hashari b'lo isha, one who lives without a wife, meaning he is not yet married, Shari b'loy, it says a few different things. 6 things that a person is lacking. He's missing simcha, he's missing tayr, he's missing bracha. He continues all the things that a person is lacking. Shari b'loy chayma. My mashgiach always said that, he says, Shari b'loy isha, shari b'loy tayr. A person is without a wife, is without tayr. So he said, Bachrim come up to him, Rabbi, what do you mean? Are you saying that I haven't been learning? So his response was, guess not. Okay, no, but that's not true. It's true, of course, in a certain way, but there's a lot to understand it. But the Ben Ish Chai says, what does it mean? Ashari b'loy isha, shari b'loy bracha. He's missing bracha. So he says that in this world, Hashem gives you so many wonderful things. So many wonderful things. You have all these gifts. Okay? You have a good sweatshirt, you have great glasses, you have a great car, you have a great house, you have a great phone that's filtered. You have all of these things, a great filter. You have all of these things that you get in your life. You get to go on a good vacation. There's a fear that when I get something in my life that's very good, perhaps, and nearly certainly sometimes, I am losing zechuyos. The good that I am getting is going to take away some of my olam haba. So says the Ben Ish Chai, but when you're married, the good things that come to you will come as a result of your wife and not you, so you won't lose any zechuyos. Now, Ben Ish Chai didn't then answer in parentheses, so does my wife lose all of her zechuyos? I guess, oops. But that's what he said. Ashari b'loy isha, one who dwells without a wife, is shari b'loy bracha. He's missing bracha because chas v'shalom, possessions that can make you cause you a loss is possessions without bracha. So over here we also yivarechecha Hashem yishmerecha. Hashem should give you a bracha. He should give you a lot of possessions. V'yishmerecha, and you should never lose those possessions. Yoyer Hashem panav elecha v'chuneka. Isa Hashem panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. I happen to have seen also this past week. There are 15 words in Berachas Kahanim. 15 words in Berachas Kahanim. A lot of people say different things, the 15 words. There are 14 joints on your hand. 14, okay? The 14, you count it out, you'll have 14, that's 14. And then the kais that you hold, Ben Ish Chai says, the cup that you hold by Kiddush corresponds to the last of the 15 shalom. It's a kais shal bracha. The kais that Kadosh Baruch Hu finds, shalom, it's bracha, fine. Another thing I happen to have seen also beautiful. There are, during each day, he says the normal person, even though I see people have like 6 or 7 breakfasts, I feel like all the references are the same person. But a person has a lot of breakfast. But the normal thing is to have 1 meal during the day and 1 meal during the night. It's 2 meals a day. That's what it always says in halacha. So that would be 6 days of the week would be 12. But on Shabbos you have 3 more. So it's 15 brachas of Berachas Kahanim correspond to the 15 meals of the week. And therefore, the most elevated of all the meals of your week corresponds to the last of Berachas Kahanim, which is Shalom, which is the greatest bracha you can be given, to have peace and be able to get along with people and also be perfect and reach perfection, be able to get along with our families and get along with our mothers and our fathers and our sisters and our brothers and our friends, to be able to achieve that bracha of Shalom. That greatest of all gifts corresponds to Shalosh Seudos, Suda Shlishis, the final, most elevated of all the Sudas of Shabbos. And it's scary sometimes when it's the one Suda that people think that you don't have to be careful about. In fact, Shalosh Seudos, so many Sfarim talk about its most elevated status, and even if you are a Chabad and you have a different version of what Shalosh Seudos, Suda Shlishis is supposed to look like, there's still a hakpada on Shalosh Seudos, on Suda Shlishis. And certainly if you're not, then a person should have. Make sure you have an appetite to have hamaitzi, have bread. And if you're not going to have bread, then you make a mezainis. If you're not going to have mezainis, you have a fruit. To be able to have something for Shalosh Seudos. It corresponds to the 15th of the words of Berachas Kahanim, which is Shalom. So there's a lot here. But I want to talk about one point. After it all, the mitzvah in the Torah is, Meir, that the Kahanim give the Yidden brachas. The Kahanim give you a bracha. You get up there, and you get up there, and all of our Kahanim, they get up, and he gets up there, and all of our Kahanim get up to the front of the shul, and they give us brachas. be able to give us brachas. How often are you giving out brachas? When you get up to say Brachas Kanim, I'm not going to put you on the spot, you don't have to answer right now. But when you get up and say Brachas Kanim, are you thinking, I'm doing this in order to give brachas to the Jewish people? I'm thinking that? Right, it's something just, I go up and I do Brachas Kanim, not me. But you go up and do Brachas Kanim, say the words, say the bracha, I turn around, I move at the right spots, I have to make sure I had to put my hands. But the most important concept is that I am being a conduit. I am being the channel of Hashem giving brachas to the Jewish people. Giving a Yid a bracha. That is what you Kahanim, on your elevated status, are doing for us. And don't miss the boat of what you're trying to accomplish. And for the rest of us too, Chaim, to be able to give out brachas is a job for all of us. I think I've said this story before. There's two versions of a very important story. It's a very short story, but there are two versions. I heard one version from a grandchild. I used to eat Baruch Hashem in Eretz Yisrael. I got to eat by the table of one of the Gedolei Yisrael, Zecher Tzadik Livracha, Rabbi Yitzchak Shoiner. And I used to eat by him. His wife was the granddaughter of Rabbi Baruch Ber Leibowitz. Rabbi Baruch Ber, one of the biggest Talmud, Rabbi Chaim Brisker, Rabbi Baruch Ber. So I was once eating by his house, and as some of you know, when I used to go by his house, I was the only one. At that time, nobody was eating Rabbi Yitzchak Shoiner anymore, and it was just me and him. So it was interesting. It was definitely a unique experience. And during one of the sudas that was by his house, a Talmud of his came by, knocked on the door of his Rebbe, and said, Rebbe, I just want to say good Shabbos. Okay? So he said, no, come inside, mach kiddush, make kiddush, have something to eat. So he said, no, Rebbe, I'm just here to say good Shabbos. Come inside and make kiddush. Rebbe, I'm just here to say. Now, first of all, it's against halacha. Obviously, you're not supposed to argue with your Rebbe. Ein b'sar from the gadol. Okay, all of that, fine. But he said, I want to come in. I want you to come and eat. And then he says, if you come in and eat, I'll tell you a story about Rabbi Baruch Ber. Now, there are two versions. I'm going to tell you this version and then the version that my point is. Rabbi Baruch, he said, this is the story. Rabbi Baruch Ber said about himself that when it comes time for me to pass away, I'm going to be judged upstairs in Shemayim. And they're going to say to me, you ready for the test? And I'm going to say, yeah, I'm ready for the test. So they're going to say to me, okay, we know your abilities, your capabilities, your capacity. Did you learn enough? For sure, I'm a Baruch Ber. Have you seen my Sfarim? Baruch Ber. I did it all. You could have done more. Oh, that's what they're going to say to me. Okay. Did you do a lot of chesed? For sure, I started tzedakahs. I was a Rav in Kamenetz. You could have done more. And they're going to go down a list, and everything that I'm going to say, they're going to say to me, you could have done more. And at that point, I'm going to be begging to be allowed in. What can I do? What can I do? And I'm going to stop. And this is how Yitzchak Shoiner told it to me from his wife, who was a granddaughter of Baruch Ber. He said, I'm going to say that whenever a Yid came to my house, I never let him leave without giving him something to eat. And they're going to say, for that, you go straight in. That's what Baruch Ber said. When a Yid comes to your house, you treat him like your Avram Avinu. He comes into your house, and you give him what to eat. A Yid never left my house without taking something to eat. That's the story. There's another version. There's a Talmud of Baruch Ber named Chaim Shapiro, who was a very big writer, and he says this story over in a different way. He said that Baruch Ber, the whole story, at the very end, Baruch Ber said, what are they going to let me in? He said, because whenever I passed a Yid in the street, I always put a bracha on his head. And for that, they're going to invite me straight in. You hear that? He passed a Yid, and he was always giving out brachas. Not that the Yid heard it. Not that a Jew was walking down the street, and a Baruch Ber around, hey, wait. No, I'm busy. No, let me put my hands on your head. I'm going to give you a bracha. No. Baruch Ber gave him a bracha. Victor Miller used to say, Zakheim Livracha, when you pass somebody on Shabbos, say good Shabbos to them. Now, I know they might not say good Shabbos back, and I know people get fed up by this, and it's very difficult, and I too, and when I say good Shabbos to a person, I will say good Shabbos, good Shabbos, good Shabbos, good Shabbos, good Shabbos, until the person says it. I'm chayshish for a marsha, I'm very concerned the guy's going to get in trouble, I make sure he says good Shabbos back to me. Okay, good Shabbos, good Shabbos. But then Rabbi Miller says, you walk past the person, Mayor, you walk past the person, after you say good Shabbos to him, and now you're 20 feet away, and he's 20 feet in the other direction, you should think, not only should he have a good Shabbos, but Hashem, he's eating cholent today, and it's probably hard to digest the cholent sometimes. He should have good digestion, and he should also not get into any fights this Shabbos, and you should walk away giving more brachas to the person. You give bracha good Shabbos, that's sweet. That's because that's the normal thing that people do. Keep giving a bracha as you walk away from him. Keep giving a bracha. Rabbi Victor Miller, when he was nifter, I think either a levaya or one of the yizkars, I don't remember, one of the zikarins was in Mir Yeshiva. And Rav Shmuel Berenbaum Zechatzadik of Bracha spoke. And Rav Shmuel Berenbaum said that the death of Rav Miller is a tragedy to Mir Yeshiva. What does Rav Miller have to do with Mir Yeshiva? He never was there. I think he used to give somebody told me that he used to come in and give like a vad for 15 minutes for like a year. But it's not part of Mir Yeshiva. Why? Because when Rav Victor Miller passed by the Mir Yeshiva and looked at the big building that he had no association with, he would always say brachas for the people in the yeshiva. They should have good shidduchim, they should have happy lives, they should live a long life, whatever it is. He would give brachas every single time he passed Mir Yeshiva. That's what he said. And Rav Shmuel Berenbaum said the yeshiva is missing those brachas now. That's why we, the Mir Yeshiva, he said, owes a debt of gratitude to Rav Victor Miller, and that we are feeling the loss of Victor Miller as it relates to the yeshiva as a whole. How many times are you giving people brachas? Are you saying positive things? I want you to be happy. I want you to be healthy. I want you to have a long life. I want you to be successful. Do we say that? Are we tapping into the message of Berachas Kahanim? I'm talking to the Kahanim too. You should also have that in mind when you're doing Berachas Kahanim. Yivrecha Hashem v'yishmerecha. I want you all to be rich. And v'yishmerecha, I don't want you to lose the money. Yeah? And you shouldn't be thinking, I want you to be rich and give me the money. Not that. I want you all to be rich. I want you all to be full of Torah. I want you all to be full of happiness. I want you all to be a success. I'm giving you brachas. I want to say something. I don't want it to be taken in the wrong way. I don't want anyone to misunderstand. I'm not referring to anyone specific anywhere or anything, and these words do not reflect the ohrshlomo, and nobody should ever take away donations from yeshiva, whatever it is. If anybody ever hears this, whoever listens, or anybody here. There are some places that don't, I'm going to say it, they don't recognize the need to give out these brachas to people. To give you a bracha. To give you a bracha doesn't just mean I say nice things to you, but I will do all that I can to give you the greatest possible life. That's what it means to give you a bracha. To give you that bracha, to give you the greatest possible life, is, in my perspective, and the Messiah that I follow, and the way of ohrshlomo, is to give you your chelek in Torah, to give you your ability to learn Torah, to give you your skill in Torah, to have you develop your own interpretations of Torah, like Rabbi Khan, when he was here, said that each one of us, according to our ability, can understand Torah according to their level. But everyone, the biggest bracha I can give you is an appreciation for Torah. Because that's the greatest joy in my life, and it's going to be the greatest, most fulfilling thing in your life, to be able to transmit that on further. And there are places out there they definitely want the best for everybody. They want people to be happy. They want people to be positive. But I sometimes hear about it, and it scares me, because the biggest bracha they can give a person, they're stealing from them. The ability to get them to have their own chelek in Torah. I love that song. Right? Can I be part of your glory? The whole song. It's so beautiful. To be able to have a chelek in Torah. I'm afraid. Even the biggest yeshivas in the world. I was in Lakewood. I hold them still in Lakewood. I'm Lakewood BMG, Beis Meshkava, the biggest yeshiva in the world. I was learning, and I had a question. I turned to the guy behind me. His name is Mordechai. You should live and be well. I turned behind me. I had a question on whatever it was, a taisvis. So I asked him, Mordechai, what's pshat? So he said, I don't know. Look up this farm. I said, no, I'm asking you, what is your pshat? Tell me your pshat on this. My pshat? I can't give my own pshat. I can't give my own pshat. Look it up. See what they say, what everybody else says. I told him, I was younger. I probably did say it right. I told him he's not Bikairis. He does not believe he has a chelik in Torah. How could you not believe that? Each one of you, Gavriel and Oren and Yasha and Eli, every single one of you, you have a chelik in Torah. Your own perception, as long as you're following the standards, like Rabbi Khan said. But the biggest bracha is I can give is for you to be able to appreciate that. Don't let anybody ever steal that. Don't let anybody ever give you a watered down version of Judaism, of slightly better than Tikkun Olam. There's so much bracha here. Hashari b'lei isha, shari b'lei bracha, shari b'lei simcha, shari b'lei Torah, shari b'lei chayma. You have it all. You have it all. Be'ez Hashem, give brachas out to people. Talk to people. Be positive to people. Say, I want you to be happy and healthy. For all of your very, very many days. Give brachas out to people. It should be your thing. And Be'ez Hashem, when it comes your time to answer some questions by the Beis Din Shalom Ala, you'll be able to say, for all the wonderful things I did, of course I'm getting into Gan Eden, but this Ola al Gabein, whenever I saw a Yid, I always made sure to put a bracha on his head. Be'ez Hashem, you should all have a fantastic, beautiful Shabbos, beautiful Zmiras, and cholent, and delicious food.